Hi dear viewers. Today I'm joining a conversation with Kaye Howarth, the author of Blue Jay, Overcoming Breast Cancer and other books that she has written. I'm so excited to have Kaye on the show today. Welcome on the show, Kaye.
Thank you, Peter. It's always a pleasure to see your smiling face and to at last be on your show. I've waited a long time. You're a
Oh.
busy boy, a busy man. Thank
Thank
you.
You're welcome. I'm excited as well, following
Me
on from
too.
our previous conversation. It's lovely to have you here again.
Thank you.
Yeah. So, Kai, reading through your book, Blue Jay, Overcoming Breast Cancer, is so
Yes.
emotional and pulling for me. And I want to say that you did an amazing job crafting that book. I feel it so much, and it's very impressive. Now, could you tell us why you decide to write a book about your experience overcoming cancer?
Yes, certainly. About 25 years ago now, I was diagnosed with breast cancer, and back then there was no social enterprises or support groups like we have now. The only place you could really go is to your library to get information, or just go to the GP and speak to other women. But back then it was very, you didn't have young women with breast cancer. It was not normal. It was usually people past their 50 years, older
Hmm.
than 50 years. So if you were young with children, you didn't have anywhere to turn. So I went to the library and I saw this book called Ruth Picardi, Before I Say Goodbye. And there was just one book. And sadly, Ruth didn't make it. But I thought that became my lifelong passion, to get a book to show a positive side, that it is possible to survive breast cancer. It's not a death sentence.
Hmm.
Although I didn't know it at the time, I just wrote about my experience up to 5 years with my first book, which was Ballbird Books. But this Blue Jay, Overcoming Breast Cancer, is basically taking that experience and going further and further on through the story, with another story intertwined with it. It sort of looks at the point of, is your past life, does that actually come into an illness? Could it cause or trigger an illness? The book goes into where I was put into care when I was first born. I don't want to give too much away.
Hmm.
And then 2 to 3 years later, I was picked up by my parents, and I was sexually abused by my father. Um, for about, I don't know, for a long time, till I was about 7 or 8, until my mum found out, and they got divorced. And then you go through working. You just completely shut down on that as a child, and you just go through the years, and then it comes out giving you problems as an adult. So I used to medicate myself with alcohol and things like that. So that would sort of like blunt the feelings and the emotional trauma whilst trying to raise my own children. And then
Hmm.
I got diagnosed with breast cancer. So it's a story all intertwined.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's basically what it's about.
Yeah, thank you so much for shedding more light to it. Because when I actually read it, I found it very emotional. And I was like, oh my God, this is very deep and breathtaking. And in
Oh,
a way that it can even help other people who are struggling from breast cancer not to give up and have some
absolutely.
hope. Yeah, that's a
Yeah,
great
yeah,
job.
absolutely. Yeah, yeah. And it's good to hear that coming from a male point of view, because men can also get breast cancer as well, which I don't
Oh,
think many people realize. So it's so
oh,
important, just to check yourself. All areas, boys, all areas, you know. But yeah, always do your checks.
hmm. That's
Mm,
great. I also see that you have a new release titled Reapers in the Pond. For
I do.
readers who haven't read the book yet, and without giving
Yeah.
much information away, could you have a sneak of what you would expect picking up Reapers in the Pond?
Okay. The story is, have you ever made a promise to somebody in your life, like to maybe a cousin, or
Yeah, I've done that.
auntie or someone. You've done that, yeah?
Yeah.
So you say, right, I promise you I will do this. If I can do it, I promise you I'll do this. So anyway, the story starts with Marnie, who's a single mum, divorced single mum, and she has a daughter called Claire who's 16.
Oh.
And ever since Claire was born, her mother Marnie has promised her, I promise you, our lives will get better. We will have a chance because they're living very hand to mouth in a very small flat in Torquay.
Mm.
And I won't tell you too much more, but Marnie comes across an advert for a job in a manor house, and it's looking for domestic staff and it's looking for a housekeeper.
Mm.
So Marnie thinks, this is it. This is the chance. I'm going to go for it. And so they do. So they actually get through, and she phones this old housekeeper up called Josie, who's on the end of this crackly old phone line. But that's all I'm going to tell you now, Peter, because I don't want to give too much away. But it is definitely an adult read, okay, because
Oh.
that it is there is scenes of rape and back legacy stories, and back then life was very, very rough and harsh. So do
Yeah.
be warned, don't let anybody under 16 read it, really.
Oh, that's
Is that
beautiful.
okay to say that? Yeah?
Yeah, that's great. That's quite nice.
Okay.
At
Yeah.
least make some clarification there. That's brilliant.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Now,
Yeah.
now, Kay, let's talk about criticism. As authors, we all have different ways of reacting to feedbacks and criticism of our works. I'm
Yeah.
curious to know your opinion about criticism. How do you react to negative reviews of your books, if you've ever had one in time past? How do you handle it?
Oh, do you know, I did have one. I had one, and I'm not sure who it was, from somebody called Rob or something. It was very, very discreet. But on I've written three other books, and I thought I was fantastic. I'd written this book, I thought it was perfect.
Mm.
But this review underneath said, you really need to practice editing, because I did it too quickly and I wanted to get it out there.
Yeah.
Um, you need to look at your editing, and you need to check your wording and things like that. And it's a really harsh review, and I was so fed up. But
Wow.
afterwards, it was actually really positive because it taught me a really good lesson. So
Oh.
I take anything, any anything to come back is really gratefully received, because it all teaches us, doesn't it? I mean, hopefully everybody will love it and go, yes, it's wonderful. But it books are books, aren't they? And it's horses for courses. But
Yeah.
I would love to hear anything from my readers, anything at all. It's always lovely to hear from them.
Yeah, that's true. I love your feedback about that. Nice to know
That's
your thought on that.
okay. Pleasure.
Now, you also have a book titled Haunting of Rockery Knock Manor. Would
Yes,
you
the
love to tell
haunting.
us a bit about that as well?
Okay, so this is actually a prerequisite to, if that's the right word. I'm not sure if that's the right word, Peter.
Yeah, I'm not even
To
sure if you can show it to the camera if Zoom will allow us to do that. That's in the
um,
background.
it's
Okay,
there.
yeah,
Oh, there we
haunting
go.
much better. Yeah, I can
There.
see it
How's
now.
that? It's disappearing because it's a
No, I can
haunted
see.
book.
I can
You
see.
see?
It's fine. It's fine.
Oh, I can show you my Blue Jay one now, can't I? Here we go.
Yeah,
Oh, I've got the hang of it now.
yeah. It's
Yeah.
good. I think you know the perfect way of positioning it.
Yes, I've got it now. Thank you, Peter.
Yeah.
So yeah, anyway, the haunting is along the same sort of lines, and it was the pre-book to Ripples, which is my adult book. So it's it's sort of a aimed at between sort of 14, 15, 16 year olds, really, and it's more softer, gentler, same sort of storyline, um, but without all the harshness of the harsh realities of the servants and everything. But it's got a haunted doll in it. It's got a piano that plays by itself.
Mm.
It's got
Oh.
lots of spooky things, just to keep you on your toes. And just, I shouldn't say this, but I love the ending. I love the ending twist. I think I'm not going to tell you about it, but I think I love it. I shouldn't say that, should I? But
Wow.
I do. I'm pleased with
Yeah, that's great.
that.
At least
Yeah,
it's nice to have an idea of what it's all about.
yes, yeah.
Now,
So
now I'm curious to know if you experienced any challenges while writing your book. If there is any, could you share with us what challenge it is and how you ultimately overcame it?
okay. It would be ripples. I really struggled with conversations. It sounds silly, but to try and make it sound really real and natural,
Oh,
because you can see the storyline in your mind, can't you?
yeah,
But
your
when
head.
you try and do the speech and make sure that it just feels like it's natural rolling,
Hmm.
and to also get the history right in the book,
Oh,
because you sort of go back in time and then back to the current time because it's a legacy.
oh, yeah,
So
that's true.
legacy means it's something that happened in the past
Yeah.
that affects in the future. So it was quite difficult to do that
Hmm.
and keep it going back and forth, because you've got like a timeline with one character that is to do with the Second World War. So
Yeah.
that's Uncle Albert, who was
Yeah.
in the Air Force. So yeah,
That's
you see
great.
him, you bump into him.
Oh,
Mm.
that's great. Do you also have any challenges writing Blue Jay? I particularly love to hear about that.
The main thing was to my father died basically a few years ago, and that gave me the freedom to
Oh,
write about it properly. I also had to let my mum know that I was writing about it, because obviously it affects her, and she was my main supporter through all of this. So
mm,
um, that was quite hard that was quite hard to put it out there and then
yeah,
wait
yeah,
for family to come back, and you're worried that they're going to come back and have a go at you, for
absolutely.
opening up this big can of worms, really,
Yeah,
that they deny ever happened. So, such is, but it it's very cleansing.
I can know. I feel it. And that's why I asked because I haven't read the book. I was like, oh my God, this would be kind of a difficult book to write. How was she able to cope
Yeah,
with all of this? That's
yeah,
nice. That's great.
yeah. It's nice that you can. It's like a big weight comes off of you.
Yeah.
It's good. Yeah. I don't know about
Mm,
how everybody else feels, but for me, it was very
absolutely. It's
good.
like a big release.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah,
Now, could you
yeah.
tell us what publishing is like for a published author like yourself? What are the challenges you've encountered in terms of marketing your books? What are the mediums you've utilized so far in promoting your
Okay.
books?
Oh, that's a really good question, actually, Peter. Because I had put my previous books through Amazon KDP and self-published. And I found that, I mean, that I learned such a lot just going through that process of getting the books on the virtual shelf out that way. Um, but my Blue Jay,
Mm.
that was it's such an experience to sort of say, right, I've actually got a publisher in America, it's
Wow.
published, and it's Bruce Cook in USA, and he actually helped me with the editing and everything, and that is such a big relief, because it's
Wow.
a lot to do on your own when you write a book and you
Absolutely.
think you've done an edit, and you really do it about 10 or 15 times, and you find something different every time. But
Mm.
a fresh set of eyes is the best thing you can do if you can afford to have it done.
Absolutely.
And it takes the weight off of you to do this. I mean, he's put it onto Barnes and Noble for me and Amazon. Um, it's published through or printed through Lulu, I think, and it's out on the shelves now. So it's out on Barnes and Noble, which was my lifelong dream, and I'm just
Oh,
waiting for Blue Jay to go. Um,
on there too.
it's going through the librarian acquisition to see if it'll go into
Wow.
Weymouth Library next to Ruth Picardi. So all
Wow.
those years ago when I wanted a positive book with Ruth, it's only taken me 25 years,
Wow.
but you've got to
Oh,
keep going. You've
wow.
got to keep going. Yeah. So in answer to
Wow.
your question, if you can get a publisher, it makes life so much easier, because
Absolutely.
they will do your marketing and everything. And I'm still marketing my other books myself. But if you can get a publisher, it makes life so much easier. How about you, Peter? Do you find this? You must know this with all of your lovely books.
Absolutely.
Yeah. It's like,
It
help
affects
me.
everyone, you know.
Oh
Marketing
God,
is a lot
yeah.
of work to do.
Yeah. But I tell you what as well though, Peter, there's so much more to marketing. It's like the social media groups and
Mm,
YouTube, and it's all the other work you do
platforms.
behind the scene that your publisher can actually help you with. I mean, you're up all hours of the night sort of chatting to people, and it's
Mm,
exhausting actually, but
yeah,
it is worth it to get it done because you meet people like you, so it's
yeah.
great.
Thank
Yeah.
you. I appreciate
Okay.
that. Now, is
Yeah.
there anything you would love to share with the viewers about your books that we didn't mention in this interview, and I'd love the viewers to know?
I would love you to know that you can come and see me on my YouTube channel, which is Kaye
Oh,
Howarth at
absolutely.
8830, and you'll meet my Jack and Pablo as well. We have our funny dogs. And anything you would like to know about me, please send me a message on my Bald Bird Surviving Breast Cancer Facebook page.
Hmm.
And and I would just love to hear from you, and come see me on my website as well, which is I'm sure Peter will pop that up for you
Yeah,
rather than me try
absolutely.
to remember it. Is that okay? Yeah. Oh, that's fantastic. But we wouldn't be here without our readers, and just thank you. Just thank you. If you see it, read the book and share it. That'd be
Hmm.
grand. And check your
Yeah.
boobs, girls, and you boys.
Yeah, and I love to
All right.
link in the discussion part of this interview to Kay's YouTube channel. I'm urging fellow viewers to please subscribe to her and check the website as well. And if you'd love to send a message to on Facebook, that'll be fine. All of the links are attached below in the discussion part of the interview. Now, I'd also love to ask you, Kay, as a
Hmm.
published author, what sort of advice do you have for other writers who are still struggling with publishing a book? What do you advise people in this category?
Um, what I would advise is the best thing to do is key work, and it's to link up with other people. This can be through LinkedIn,
Mm,
Facebook, going to your library, finding out, joining other groups, support groups for writers. You can never not know enough people because somebody knows somebody, and
I know
it's
somebody.
if you're quite shy and introverted like myself, uh, you you might struggle with meeting people and joining groups, but it's great on social media because you don't physically have to go into a room or anything. You can just chat online, and
Mm,
online media, fantastic. And
absolutely.
always ask other people in book groups, writers groups, publishers groups.
Yeah,
Hmm.
that's great. That's a very good advice. I love it. And I'm hopeful that viewers, including myself, would love to utilize it. Now, Kay, on what platform can interested viewers get a copy of your books? Or what platform are they available on for purchase?
Okay. If they would go to my website, which is Peter will put the link up for you, you can order it's off of there, which is Blue Jay Overcoming Breast Cancer. You can also get it from Bruce Cook and Barnes and Noble and Amazon. And that's the same for all of my books, that you can get them on there. So if there's a book you fancy, there's a romance book on there as well. If you fancy something soft and girly and romantic. So have a look at my website and that would be great. And Amazon.
Yeah, yeah, and I left a link also to all of that in the discussion part of this interview where viewers can get a copy directly on Amazon and all of the other platforms. So thank you so much, Kaye Howarth, for accepting the invitation to be featured on P English Literature. It's a pleasure having you on this show.
It's been an absolute pleasure too, Peter. Thank you very much for your time. And I think you do a fantastic job. So bye.
Yeah, it's my joy.